am now just about fully convinced that changes were made to Trump's inauguration, not because of the weather, not because of any other factors, but I do think there are some very credible threats that we're not being told about. And personally, as someone who has been following all of this drone madness very, very closely, I think that the threat is drones. I think that the inauguration was moved indoors, not because of, the fact that, it's going to be cold outside. Not because, Trump was going to, draw a small crowd. Listen, you don't have to like the guy. I'm not here to convince you to like Trump. But to pretend like Trump can't draw a crowd, that's kind of delusional. I think he has proven otherwise over the last 8 years as he goes around the country drawing crowds everywhere. But whatever, you can believe what you want. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just here to talk about what's actually happening in the world from a non-biased perspective. Because it doesn't matter who was taking office. If all of these situations were happening, if all of these events were taking place, I would still be here having these conversations. Now, one thing I noticed is that Trump's motorcade is now fully fitted with drone jamming technology. Now, this type of electronic countermeasure technology is not something unheard of. It's something that we will see a lot more of now that we're moving into the age of drones and all of these things flying in the sky. So it's not necessarily unheard of, but let's be real here. We've all seen Trump's motorcade before. We've seen Trump riding around before. I've never noticed, maybe it's just that I'm noticing it now, but I've never noticed all of this drone jamming technology and stuff on the vehicles that he rides in. And like I said, hey, maybe it's just something I'm noticing now, but as someone who's been paying close attention, I don't think I've seen this, or at least not this many vehicles outfitted with this technology in his motorcade. Now, of course, he's going to be president now, so, maybe his motorcade is going to be a little different. I get all of that, but it's just something that really sticks out to me, especially in the day and age that we're in right now, where we're not being told the truth about all of these drones, or whatever they are, that are flying all over America. Of course, you've heard about how they infested New Jersey, but they're in other places as well. You can go through my channel. I have made dozens of videos about this. They've been over all types of military bases. Just about a week or so ago, they shut down an airport in Long Island, New York. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there, and I do think it's a very real threat that we're not being told the truth about. And I think that Trump is taking the threat seriously, or whoever is around him. And I personally believe that the reason the inauguration has been moved indoors is because of drones, the threats from drones. And the main reason I feel that way is not necessarily because of the mystery drones that we see flying around everywhere, but because of the fact that, oddly enough, for some weird reason, I want you all to follow me here. For some weird reason, the biggest drone manufacturing company in the world that provides most of the drones that the U.S. has, most of the drones that you go buy at Walmart or Best Buy or anywhere else, most of these drones are made by a Chinese company, DJI, okay? This company almost has a monopoly on the drones that people use in America. Not every single drone, but most of them, chances are, if you see a drone flying around, it's DJI. And that doesn't just mean civilian drones, police officers, law enforcement agencies, what have you. These are like the most popular, most well-known, most widely available drones in America, okay? You have someone in your neighborhood or in your household right now who owns one of these drones. They're very common. Well, you see, these drones, they have technology, or they have, how can I put it? They have certain protocols and systems built within, right? That will not allow them to fly over certain areas. It's called like geofencing technology. Mind you, I am not a drone expert. Do not confuse me for one. I'm just someone that's been paying attention to the weird drones flying everywhere. I don't know the ins and outs of these things. But this geofencing stuff, it stops people from being able to fly their drones in certain areas or over certain airspace. For example, because of geofencing, people aren't allowed, like their drones will not fly over the White House. Their drones will not fly over certain military bases, certain sensitive sites, during certain public emergencies, let's say like the wildfires in California. Sometimes you will literally not be able to launch your drone. If you're in one of these restricted areas, you will literally not be able to launch your drone. If you fly towards one of these areas, your drone will not allow you to fly into one of these areas, right? Now, it seems like common sense that technology, should be in place, right? That those systems should be in place to stop people from doing crazy things. Well, for some odd reason, very odd, in the middle of all this other drone madness that is going on, and 1 week before the inauguration, DJI decided, hey, we're going to remove this technology, or I guess software would be the word that I'm looking for that keeps escaping me for some reason. But 1 week before Trump's inauguration, mind you, this company has been around for over a decade. For over a decade, people have been buying and flying these drones since like 2000. Well, I can't remember the exact year, but it's been going on for over 10 years, over 12 years, like literally like 15 years, right? This whole entire time, this software has been in place to restrict people from flying over these areas. But 1 week before Trump gets inaugurated, DJI announces that they're getting rid of this software. So now anyone that owns one of these drones can now fly their drone over the White House. They can now fly their drone over the airport and crash into one of your airplanes as you're taking off to go visit your grandma or whoever. As you're going to go on a girls' trip. Guess what? Some weirdo can now fly his drone straight into your airplane and cause a disaster. Now they're allowed to fly over military bases. Now, mind you, there's still laws against doing some of this stuff. But the software is no longer in place that will restrict people from breaking these laws. You see, in the past, people didn't have the option. The option was off the table. Your drone just wasn't going to work. Now the software is gone, and now they say they're putting the responsibility back into the drone owner's hands, and it's up to you to decide what's right and wrong. Yeah, they'll give you a little warning like, hey, you're flying into a restricted area, but they are not going to stop your drone from doing so. Now, if you don't think it's odd that these things have existed for over a decade, but 1 week before the inauguration, they decide, hey, guys, guess what? No more geofencing software. Go fly your drones over the inauguration. Fly them over the White House now. Y'all don't think that's kind of weird? You don't think it's kind of weird? And let's take the inauguration out of the situation, out of the scenario. I mean, why is this happening at a time where we're going through all of this other drone chaos everywhere? If you think that this stuff is not connected, then I don't know what to tell you. At some point, people have to learn how to connect dots. And these dots are like so easily connected that I don't understand why people aren't putting 2 and 2 together, right? But some people aren't putting 2 and 2 together. But isn't it obvious? Even if you don't think the inauguration, changing around, even if you think that has nothing to do with it, isn't it obviously weird, obviously connected, that this drone company, the biggest drone company in the world, decides, hey, we're going to get rid of this software and we're going to allow you to fly your drones over military bases and stuff right at the same time that we got all of these other mystery drones flying around? Really freaking weird, if you ask me. And I mean, from the looks of things, if we're just looking at this on the surface level, right? It looks like they were emboldened by the fact that we never responded to these mystery drones. We never, as far as we know, we never shot any of them down. We never really did anything about it. Half of our government was like, yeah, it's real. Look at these videos. This is going on. And then the other half was like, no, nothing to see here. You're wrong. Nothing's ever been done about it, right? And because nothing has been done about it, guess what? The biggest drone manufacturer in the world, where, I mean, I'm talking millions of Americans already own these things. These things are already in their households. Now, bam, guess what? They can fly them any freaking where. Fly them anywhere. So it's like, oh, you didn't nip the original problem in the bud? Well, guess what? Now here's another problem. Bam. You give them an inch, they take a mile. They didn't stop the drones flying over New Jersey. Next thing you know, they were in New York. They were in Connecticut. They were in Philadelphia. They didn't stop that. Next thing you know, now civilian drones no longer will have the restrictions in place that will stop them from doing crazy things. And you know, the crazies are freaking ready. I guarantee you right now, people are already out there with their drones ready and plotting. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to look at all of this and not to think that there's some sort of connection here. But maybe there's not. But whatever is going on here, this is a cause for concern, because I don't think that this is happening for no reason. You think they just lifted these restrictions for no reason? Right in the midst of everyone having this big conversation and debate about the mystery drones flying in the sky, now we got to worry about everyone and their mama flying drones everywhere. And then, you know, you had that story recently in California where the airplanes that are carrying water to drop it on the freaking wildfires, not so wild if you ask me, we know they were started by arsonists. But anyway, as these planes were trying to put out the fires in LA, one of them collided with a drone and the plane had to land and it had damage to it and stuff like that. We still don't know what really went down there. So yeah, if you ask me, the fact that they're lifting these restrictions that they've had in place for over a decade, a few days before Trump's inauguration, is suspect as hell. No one's going to convince me otherwise. I'm sorry. It's very clear to me that even if they don't have anything planned, they're providing the opportunity, right? I'm not saying that, oh, this drone company knows they're going to lift these restrictions and they got someone in place that's going to do something crazy. No, but they know that the crazies are out there and now they're giving them the opportunity. And it's not like we just have to worry about the Chinese government. It's crazies anywhere, because now, ladies and gentlemen, if I wanted to, I could go to Best Buy, I could go buy one of these drones today, and I can go fly it over the White House. Now, I'm not going to do that. I would never do that, but if I wanted to, I could. So if you're wondering, are there threats to Trump's inauguration? Well, hell yeah, because look at where we're at now. So, I mean, I don't know. I think we're in for some very interesting times. I say that all the time, and sometimes I feel like I say it too much, and people become desensitized to what's going on. But right now, I think that we need to be prepared for a new age that is ushering in new threats. And a lot of these threats aren't going to be humans in your face. They're going to be little flying things in the sky that can be controlled by someone at home. And as this technology advances, people are going to start attaching weapons and all types of stuff, man. It's going to be like the wild freaking West if something isn't done soon. Because I can tell you right now, the only reason why most people weren't flying over these restricted areas is because they weren't allowed to, right? But now that they can, they will. So over the coming weeks, it's going to be interesting to see what stories come out of this. And for now, man, Trump better stay indoors. But you let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.